All right, everyone, in classic Deadlock fashion, we have leaks right after a major update. Hey, everyone's Connor here at Dead Unlocked, and yeah, we've got some new posts, and I want to go over them with a huge grain of salt. Remember, these are just leaks, but these ones specifically, I'm going to be covering them from an account called Deadlock Project 8. This is an account that I honestly debate covering things from. Yes, they have posted some things in the past that have been legitimate. I think they've predicted some leaks ahead of time, predicting maybe even like a patch day previously. But this is an interesting account. It looks like it's like Russian run, and in their replies, they post some pretty interesting like political things. So I don't know, this is something that I definitely pause in covering, but I figure this is something the community is talking about. I'll just be a reflection of that, and I'll give my own thoughts on this as well. But I wanted to go over a couple of posts that I've seen from this account. One other account that I would kind of be on the lookout for as well, and then I also want to shout out an account on X that I would follow if I were you, if you're looking for Deadlock news, leaks, etc. But let's get right into this first one. According to some data mining and insider info, more details about Valve's work on Deadlock have surfaced. Deadlock will have separate modes, currently 3 that are planned. A class system will be added. It won't affect the playstyle of heroes, but it will serve as a guide for newcomers to become, to better understand the game. After the upcoming split update, a draft system will be introduced. Hero classes might roll out earlier in a test phase. At least 8 more heroes are planned for release, with 4 of them already close to completion. An achievement system, a news hub, NPCs, and new rooms are planned for the next 2 major updates. When I hear new rooms, I'm guessing within the hideout. Additionally, around October, Valve is expected to take a short break. Some developers are already on vacation, though this reportedly does not affect the team's overall productivity, according to the insider. There's a lot here. This also coincides with a previous post leaked from this person that is a data mine of several heroes' names with hero type and then a classic, kind of class or role name next to them. And those we have, for Infernus, we have Marksman, which is interesting. 7, we have Mystic. So Mystic would be a role for like a heavy spirit user, presumably. We have Brawler with someone like Abrams. We have Assassin for someone like Hayes. And I'm trying to think if I see any other ones that are unique. Nope. I will link both of these posts in the description if you want to take more of a look at them. But let's go back and look at this. So there's a lot here. A ton here. And that's why I felt like I had to cover it today. Because if this is any shred of true, this is massive. And definitely worth talking about. Now, and I will say there are a lot of things in this post that would coincide like with what I think any person following Deadlock would expect from the game coming up, right? So let's break down what we've got here, and I'll give my thoughts on what we've seen so far. If there's any other leaks I can kind of remember off the top of my head. I do a scouring of Reddit and, Deadlock Twitter every day, so let's see what we've got. So, Deadlock will have 3 separate modes, currently 3 that are planned. This would go way back and coinciding with, I think, a post from Gabe Follower that we covered on the channel, where we saw some data mining of an escort mode that was previewed. That could very easily be one of the modes. But honestly, if we're just thinking about the kind of game Deadlock will be, I think this one is actually somewhat obvious. I think this definitely will have more than one game mode, right? We'll have probably some kind of ARAM. There'll be an escort. Like, this is a hero shooter MOBA blend. And so if you can think up a mode from Team Fortress, Overwatch, League of Legends, or Dota, it could probably be in Deadlock, just the same for Paladin, Smite, anything like that, right? Okay. So that one's not that controversial. A class system will be added. It won't affect the playstyle of heroes, but will serve as a guide for newcomers to better understand the game. This, I think, will definitely be added, and for that exact reason, I think it will be a guide for newcomers, because if you're going to play Great Talon, you need to somehow know, outside of just your rational human brain, not to frontline and go run in and play a tanky Great Talon build. You need to know this is a marksman, right? That makes sense. Again, nothing too controversial there. After the upcoming split update, a draft system will be introduced. Hero classes might roll out earlier in a test phase. I don't know what the split update means. That one is interesting. If it comes along with a draft system, though, the split may be that they're going to split up queues. We might finally get like a matchmaking patch. That's just a theory. That's when I hear that. I'm hearing like they're going to split up queues and there's going to be some kind of like split. I don't know. A competitive and casual queue would be the thing I would go to first. But this one, I don't know. I mean, I think a matchmaking adjustment is one of the most necessary things in the game right now. I think they're trying to roll out as much of the new content as they can and then start kind of tinkering and balancing with things. And it's hard to roll out something new with matchmaking outside of just trying to address how your MMR sets up lobbies, things like that. And then they're trying to keep queue times down. They're trying to get as much data as they can for this game. So I understand some of the rationale for shelving matchmaking, but it's such a problem. And I think a lot of players agree with that. So maybe split up to address that. Otherwise, not really too sure. At least 8 more heroes are planned for release, with 4 of them already close to completion. Now, I'd have to double check the total number of heroes right now. I think we're at like 32. I could be totally wrong. That's just an off-the-cuff number. If we're getting to a round number like 40, that would make a whole lot of sense. 8 heroes otherwise feels like it's kind of plucked out of thin air, maybe, who knows. But I could see more heroes being on the way, right? Like we had, clearly they were working on other heroes besides what we saw. Like in one leak, we saw a boho character in the original Deathy leak, I'm pretty sure. We just saw a portrait of that hero, but we didn't see anything else. We obviously have the 4 experimental heroes that were in the game for a very long time that we did not get with the other 6 that came out, right? Like we have like Raven, Fathom, Trapper, Priest, maybe? I forget the names. So there's definitely other heroes coming. And I think that's like, there's always going to be more in the pipeline with a game like Deadlock. So this isn't, again, that far-fetched to believe. But I could see, another group of heroes coming into the game before the end of the year. I don't think that's out of the question to guess for sure. And then there's a lot jammed into this last sentence here. An achievement system, a news hub, NPCs, and new rooms are planned for the next major updates. Next 2 major updates. So that is, they're saying a lot there. 1, there's going to be 2 more major updates coming soon. And I think these major update styles are just something that's going to become kind of like a flavor or a theme of this early alpha development build of the game, where we will get these kind of series of major updates. I think that really does change or slow down when we get to an open beta. I think the development style of the game just has to change at a certain point then. It can't be quite as volatile once it jumps up in player base so much. At least just a theory. So 2 major updates make sense though. I think we get a matchmaking, a split update. So that's going to be, something like that could be one of them. I doubt it's called a split update. This doesn't make any sense. So something about matchmaking and queues, and then maybe another map polish run through. I've seen some other leaks. I didn't cover them last week because I had COVID and had a lot else going on. But there's definitely some mid boss reworks coming, and there's I think I've seen assets for new patron, new shrines, new walkers. So a lot more coming to the map. I think to kind of coincide with the overall flavor. That will, I think, definitely be something that comes into play. New jungle camp designs, things like that. Achievement system we've also seen in a leak. I think even now, or at least for a little bit after the update, you could hit escape in a game and it would show a level next to your name on the bar on the right. Something like that could easily be the case. A news hub makes total sense. This could even be a new room in the hideout, like a cork board with news on it, like little sheets of news or something. I could easily see being that big window or near the shop or the voting booth before you get into the practice range. Something like that makes a ton of sense. And then NPCs and new rooms are planned in the hideout. I'm going to have a video on the hideout coming up very shortly because I have a lot of thoughts on the hideout. So stay tuned for that one, probably tomorrow. But I could easily see this being the case. And I'm kind of glad it's being talked about, honestly, because the hideout's going to be awesome. And I think there's definitely going to be more rooms they use within that hideout for more engagement, more fun things like that. And then the note that in October they may be taking a short break. I really don't know much about what to think about that. This is just something this person's claiming. So all of this post is an interesting one. I know the community is going to be talking about this one, so I just wanted to be on the front end of doing so. I think you have to take it with a grain of salt. Again, this account's worth just taking a look at in your own time. I don't even follow it for, it's just an interesting one to look at. When you look at some of the things, like I said, they've posted in the replies, there's definitely some AI use happening. At least it certainly seems like it with some of their posts. I understand if there's a language barrier using it for that or some kind of Google Translate tool or something, but at the end of the day, this is just an account I would have some pause with. Speaking of, this is another account. These are some of those assets I was talking about, some kind of remodels of mid that we've been seeing. So there's more than just these two, but I thought I'd show these so you can see a little image of the shrine over there. It's like a little windmill, and then the patron's just this kind of massive throne for the patron, rather. So this is another account pause lock, kind of the same thing. Very similar to Deadlock 8 in terms of what you're getting when you follow that account. This is an account I would recommend following, though. If you have an X account and you're looking for leaks that are reliable, proven, this is a place I get a lot of my news. So you can just skip me, go direct to source here. Gabe Follower. He doesn't just post Deadlock things, but this is a kind of very popular previous Valve leaker. He has done a lot within CS and some other games, so this is a source I would trust when he says something. Again, even if he posts a leak, it's not like it's 100% true, guaranteed, but this is an account at least that I think you could follow with some certainty and get some, again, just good, interesting Deadlock news. I threw up this post here because this is pretty interesting. 6 million votes were cast by the community is a really cool number to be able to flex. 203 votes by one player. Yeah, so just a lot of cool, interesting stats here. So if you're looking for news, leaks, give Gabe Follower a follow. I would recommend him as well. But honestly, what do I think of these leaks and what do I think is coming next in Deadlock? I think this is a question that is definitely worth asking. The game is in a really amazing state right now. I mean, this update has brought an incredible amount of momentum and excitement to the game. The player count has reflected that. I mean, my personal just view of the game has really been changed. I mean, I think this is such a significant update, and I'm glad it's getting the buzz that it's getting. But when we talk about what's next, the reason I covered this leak is because a lot of this is what I would imagine would be next, right? I mean, top to bottom, game modes, class system, if Split is about matchmaking adjustments, more new heroes, achievement system, new sub NPCs, more hideout. I mean, this is a lot of things that I think me and other players are looking for in the back of their minds when you talk about what could be coming next in Deadlock. Timetable wise, I think that is probably, even for me, earnestly, that's the biggest question mark here, is when do we get a lot of this stuff? We're in currently the beginning of September at the time of recording this video, September 2nd. I think we could definitely get some balancing this month, but I don't know that we get a ton else. Now, with that being said, this little taking a break in October does kind of mesh up with what I would think, and that would be that we get a major update of some kind before the end of the year. I say that because yes, that would be a faster turnaround for a major update than we've had previously, but I also think the game is in a less rough draft state, so we should expect more, I don't know, just bigger swings more often, I think, is fair to expect, because it's not like Valve's gonna overhaul the hideout and just wreck it on the next update. Like, this is the chassis for a vehicle that they plan to use a lot. And so when you think about it's much faster to add a new fender to a car than it is to make a core adjustment to the chassis. I don't work on cars, that could be a terrible analogy, but I think that's how we should think about Deadlock a little bit moving forward, that we have a much better visualization and representation in the game. I just slammed my mic. Nice. We have a much better visualization and representation in the game of a finished state for this game, I think. I mean, it's not like it's the finished game, but we're much closer to that point, right? And I think because of that, we can expect, more quicker adjustments moving forward. Again, I think that really stops with open beta, and that's kind of our hard stop for these big aggressive swing changes. However, I still think it could be the case that we get a big update before the end of the year containing some pieces of this. At the end of the day, though, I will keep you all updated with any official news. If we have any more, what I would consider to be, I don't know, legitimate leaks, I will cover them here. But as with anything we cover that's speculative on this channel, from an account like this especially, please take it with a grain of salt. Don't come after me if this doesn't end up being true, please, because I'll be just as devastated as you. So no one wants that. But anyway, I'm happy to be back, y'all. I had COVID last week. I had a death in the family. My car broke down. And all that started, I work at a university, and it was the first week back at university. So it has been a hellish week. Apologies for the kind of slowing down of the videos. I wanted to get this one out immediately because we saw this morning and this looked really, really impressive. Thanks to Rob for covering my last video. Appreciate you, Rob. And we will have more videos coming this week. I want to get some actual beginner content. It's a huge kind of ethos mission of the channel, is to help newer players get acquainted with the game. So expect more of that coming in the next week or so. I do want to yap about the hideout a little bit, so expect that tomorrow, along with a lot of other things coming down the pipeline. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate the patience with me last week, is getting through all the sickness and everything. We'll have more content coming this week. So from our house to yours, thank you all so much. Oh, I didn't even mention, thank you all so much for 1,000 subs. That's crazy. Oh, I was freaking out. I'm so stoked. I had like a bottle of like grape juice bubbly to pop. I'll figure that out later. But thank you all so much for the support. Really, really appreciate it. From our house to yours, we'll see y'all next time here at Dead Unlocked.